Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for making the time to be with us here today. This session is about the feedback from the African IGF that took place from the 16th to the 18th of October in Johannesburg, South Africa. To Mandiaye Ndiaye, who's going to talk on the recommendations of the IGF and whether they adequately address the issues of inclusiveness and digital transformation in Africa. He's a senior librarian. Over to you, Mandiaye.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Mandiaye Ndiaye. I'm an academic librarian and an associate of IFLA International Leaders Program. IFLA is the International Federation of Library Association. I'm also the president of the Senegalese Library Association. I just want to share about the recommendations that we had from the African IGF 2016 in Durban. For each session, we had the recommendation, for example, assessing the role of internet governance in the Sustainable Development Goals. All the stakeholders recommend that the government need to partner with libraries to deliver on national development plans. And also, government must embrace internet governance as a social development tool for community transformation. For the bridging the gender divide in digital transformation of Africa, also, we issued 2 recommendations. Government support by civil society should launch campaigns and design programs to sensitize women on how to use the internet, including on issues related to women's rights. Government must also support, by private sector, need to attract more women in developing technology and content. About Africa's digital economy and Africa and human rights on internet. It's recommended that the African Declaration on Internet Rights and Principles should be adopted and implemented by all stakeholders. The other thing is that the government also, media, private sector, and civil society should initiate educational programs at community level and in local languages that would raise awareness on the internet and promoting IGF forums. Connecting the next billion, which role for Africa? Here also, government and parliaments should establish a policy framework and strategy for promoting local content development and consumption. And also, regulatory bodies supported by the private sector must promote affordability of the internet to people in Africa. Third, local government need to create community networks where communities provide the internet access for and among themselves by connecting via network or Wi-Fi access point. About security and privacy issues in the internet, it was recommended that African member states should sign and ratify the AU Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection. And also, all stakeholders should promote measures on rebuilding trust and confidence in the cyberspace, and also reinforce capacity building on internet governance issues. Inclusive development in digital transformation in Africa. Here also, we found that African governments should establish clear goals specifying what was needed to achieve the digital agenda. Governments, private sector, and regulators should encourage organizations and government agencies to migrate from IPv4 to IP6 and host local IXP and content to reduce the cost of access to the internet. About the youth entrepreneurship and innovation, accelerating also the digital transformation in Africa, government should involve young people when creating policy for the youth and children. Government need to integrate innovation and entrepreneurship in the education system and support hubs teaching young people innovation. Member states should implement the African Union Pan-African radio and television project, taking into account the need of the youth. And about reviewing also an approval of the African IGF Charter and reports on regional IG conference. The draft charter must be made available online to receive input from all stakeholders. For the statute of the recommendation of the IGF 2015, government should respect multi-stakeholders approach in implementing national IGF. IGF should be organized according to the bottom-up approach, so as the discussion had at national and regional, regional, continental levels are up to date. Recommendation of the various IGF should be taken into consideration in government, sub-regional and regional organization futures action and plans. That were the issues that we wanted to share about recommendation, Madam Chair. Thank you. Yeah.
Mandiaye?
It will be just one word for enabling inclusive and sustainable development. It is just an invite to all the stakeholders to partner with libraries and librarians. Libraries as safe and open space without restriction for all. And librarians are trained people ready to help and to bring online. Please partner with library and librarians for enabling sustainable development. Thanks.
Thank you. Mary, you have the last